The Commission wishes also to emphasize that in order to maintain a harmonious, peaceful, tranquil, enabling environment at a polling station, so as to give room to all other voters to come and cast their votes without any fear, without any trepidation. We advise and we urge all voters, once you have cast your vote, leave the polling station. We are alive to the provision of the law that says a voter who has cast his vote to any other person can stand 20 meters away from the polling station. However, we've said that putting that provision in the context of what we have noticed in the past from experience and the goings on at polling station, we find that when people gather around the polling station for many hours, supporting different candidates, there is a high likelihood of disagreement or even fights, confrontation, developing in their midst, and before you know it, the violence has escalated and spread to the polling station, and in the process, the effects or the materials at the polling station are damaged or polling severely disrupted. In 2021, there are a number of polling stations where this occurred, and the Commission was not able to declare or to announce the results or the outcome from those polling stations because this chaos or disruption destroyed or damaged the effects or the materials at that polling station. Secondly, in some instances, this presence of some of these people, some of them cause they create an intimidating environment at the station, which causes the vulnerable voters to get intimidated. Some of these people even intentionally harass, jeer at some voters they perceive not to be voting or going to vote or supporting a particular candidate. And in the eyes of the Commission, the view of the Commission, which is not orchestrated by any ulterior motives, but the desire to have a peaceful environment at a polling station that allows all peace-loving voters to come and freely exercise their constitutional right under Article 1. We need to create a very free, flowing, enabling environment around the polling stations so that the voters can come and cast their votes. Once you have cast your vote, you have effectively exercised your right under the Constitution, under Article 1, by choosing a leader of your choice. The only thing that will be remaining is for your vote, together with others, to be counted, provided they are valid in the law. So please, we urge the members of the public and all peace-loving, good-intentioned citizens of this country, heed the call of the Electoral Commission that leave the polling stations, leave room for other voters to come. In any case, many of these polling stations, as you realize, particularly in urban areas, they are in squeezed places, such that even the distance is prescribed under the law as the layout of the polling station, which I can even recite now. One, the law says the first table where voters report or line or queue is where the biometric kit and where the ballot papers are placed. The kit is with the operator. The ballot papers and the register are with the presiding officer. That is table number 1 is the identification and verification kit of table for voters. The law says the second table should be 15 meters from this first table. And that second table is one where our booth is located. And our booth, in the case of Uganda, is an open basin. We don't have closed booth as in some countries. Ours is open in a basin, 15 meters from the first table. That's where the voter places the ballot paper, issued to him or her, places the tick or thumbprint. Then from there, the voter proceeds to the third table, which should be 10 meters from the booth table. The third table is where the box, the transparent box, is placed for the voter to cast in the ballot paper or the vote. Then the fourth table, which should be 10 meters from the table of the ballot box, is where this polling assistant with the ink pad or whatever it is, inks your thumb or whatever, to confirm that you have voted. Then you exit. Now, when you look at these distances, from the first table to the last table, that's about 50 meters. In some of these places in urban areas, it is even difficult to realize the prescribed distances in the law between these various tables. Why? Because of lack of adequate space. So even if the space prescribed for polling stations is inadequate, now where do you get the 20 meters from this table, the polling table, where people can gather? So that's why we are saying that for those who are urging voters to remain at a polling station, majorly or purposely to safeguard or to guard the votes of their respective candidates, this, in our view, doesn't serve the purpose. The vote protection, the safeguarding, and the observation role as to every step and process taking place at the polling station is well catered for in the form of the agents for the various candidates who are participating in elections in that constituency. The agents, as we have said over and again, are people who are recognized in law, they are provided for, and their seating arrangement is also well articulated and spelled out in the law. And the law says they should sit near table number 1, the identification and the verification table. Or they should sit in such a way that they should clearly observe what is taking place at table number 1. The agents have, each candidate is entitled to 2 agents per polling station. With the 8 presidential candidates, those are already in the whole country, 16 agents per polling station for presidential. Since elections for MPs is also taking place the same day, if you have a minimum of 5 candidates parliamentary, those are already 10 agents. So that means you have about 25 minimum vote agents. But in many places, in many constituencies, in many areas, the candidates are more than 10. Candidates are more than 10, which means that is parliamentary, which means therefore those are already 20 agents for parliamentary candidates plus 16 agents for presidential candidates. Those are 36. Surely your fears are well catered for. This big or large number of agents is more than sufficient to safeguard, to protect, and take care of the interests of the candidate at that polling station, which the people standing 20 meters away may not do, because they are not in close proximity with the table number 1. They are not. They are not even observing whether this voter, his or her thumbprint, has been acknowledged by the biometric kit. Not at all. Then, furthermore, the agents are present throughout the processes at a polling station, from the time of opening to the time of close of polling to the time of counting. They are witnessing the voters who are being verified and identified. They are watching or observing how many ballot papers a voter is being given. They are observing how the voter, after ticking or putting a thumbprint on the ballot paper, is moving to the ballot box, and how many ballot papers that person is casting or putting that ballot box. They are observing all this because they are within the polling station itself. The agents will be present when polling ends, and the presiding officer empties the contents of the ballot box on the polythene sheet on the ground before counting starts. They will be present when the ballot papers will be scanned using the BBVK machine. They will be present when they start counting each ballot paper. They are the ones who will witness which ballot paper is valid or invalid, and what happens to all these ballot papers. And they will witness how many ballot papers each candidate has received. And finally, or near finally, they will be present when the presiding officer is recording the outcome of the counting process on the declaration of results form. And the law requires them to append or to put their signature against this DR form. The agency. And the law says after that, after they have signed, the presiding officer is required or commanded to give the agents of each candidate the DR form, a copy of the declaration of results form. The same form that is being transmitted to the district tally center to the returning officer. The contents are the same. The agents. Assuming a candidate does not have any agent, because the deployment of agents at the polling station is at the preserve of the candidate. The preserve of a candidate. But assuming, let me give this illustration, assuming the agent has not deployed the candidate has not deployed an agent at any agent, even one at the polling station. One, voting will take place because you opted, though it was your right, you opted not to send an agent to a polling station. Two, the voter verification and identification take place in the presence of those agents who are present. The fact that there is no agent for a particular candidate, and you, the voters who have voted, who are standing 20 meters away, the presiding officer will not say, now since candidate X does not have an agent here to witness this, is there any supporter among you people standing 20 meters away so that you come and fill this gap? No, it will not happen. Because you are more or less irrelevant. Once you have cast your vote, the other processes at polling station are not for you. Then the other scenario, since the law says that the presiding officer must hand over the DR form to each candidate through his or her agents. If there is none for a particular candidate, will the presiding officer say, hey, you people who are standing behind there, hey, is there supporter for candidate X? since he does not have an agent here, so that we hand over the DR form to you and you take to him or her? No, they will not call upon you. Even if you holler on top of your voice, oh, yo, they will not say, let one of you, the supporters, step forward and we hand over the DR form to you. I'm raising all these scenarios to show the relevance of voters at a polling station in the observation or participation in the critical nitty-gritties of the polling process at this polling station. So please, we reiterate, let us avoid a scenario where undesired outcomes will erupt at a polling station and cause severe disruptions. In my humble view, in the humble view of the Commission, the dangers of these people staying around the polling station far outweigh the advantages you think you will achieve by them being around. The dangers of their stay far outweigh the would-be advantages. So that's why we urge, please, it is not for wrong or sinister reasons that we are urging people to leave a polling station. Let us have a very tranquil, peaceful, happy event of the people of Uganda exercising their constitutional right, choosing leaders of their choice freely, peacefully, happily, without anything causing disruption. However, we voters are urged to mark the ballot paper correctly. Now, the other point I want to emphasize in this pre-polling briefing is the role of election observers and candidates agents. I'm sorry, I've already jumped the queue on candidates agents, but well, it's for emphasis. In accordance with Section 16, subsection 2 and 3 of the Electoral Commission Act, the Commission invited applications from political parties and organizations, civil society organizations, institutions, and individuals, both national and international, to observe electoral activities under the roadmap for the 2025-2026 general elections. Accordingly, the Electoral Commission has accredited national and international observers to observe the elections. I think by yesterday, the accreditation committee, which is headed by the deputy chairperson, Hajat Eshel Vega, informed us that they had accredited close to about 1,500, I think both local and international observers. And the commission has been interacting with a number of delegations from various African entities or regional bodies and other non-African delegates who have expressed interest to come and be part of the observers' role, play a role in the observation of our elections this year. The Commission has further accredited observers from political parties which presented candidates for the purpose of the presidential and parliamentary elections. These accredited observers will be required to limit their activity to designated areas, and the Uganda Police has been notified to enforce this regulation. I also want to say this. Security will clearly be visible tomorrow on polling day, or even before. However, I want to assure the people of Uganda, the presence or role of security in your areas is not to create an intimidating atmosphere or environment, but rather to ensure that there is an environment of peace and tranquility that gives assurance to the rightful voters that you are free to go and cast your vote, you are secure from harassment, from intimidation, and go and exercise your vote, your role, or your constitutional right at the polling station. the security services, our brothers and sisters. And therefore, they are there to safeguard the lives of the people of Uganda and the nation and statehood of our country, not to hinder or obstruct any citizen who is a registered voter from going to cast their vote. So do not fear, do not get apprehensive because you have cited security either along the roads or in your area patrolling and so on and so forth. They are carrying out their constitutional duty of safeguarding the lives of the people of Uganda, their properties, and also maintaining law and order. However, any person who will be inclined to cause disruption to the rights of the people of Uganda in exercising their constitutional right will be dealt with severely in accordance with the law by law enforcement agencies. Even if you know this person does not support my candidate, you have no right to hinder that person, to obstruct that person, to threaten, to jeer at, or intimidate that person with a view to discourage him or her from going to vote for a person of his or her choice. That Article 1 is unassailable. Power belongs to the people, and this power shall be exercised by them individually participating in a free and fair election in choosing leaders of their liking, period. So no Ugandan, nobody has a right to stop or to hinder in any way, either through words or actions or whatever, this Ugandan from exercising his constitutional duty. The participating political parties and independent candidates are required to submit names of 2 observers who have been accredited for purposes of accessing. Are they 2 or 5? Hajat, are they 2? Those who are accessing the tally center? 2 or 5? 2, because of the numbers. 2 political parties have been allowed to recommend 2 observers, I think, who have already been accredited by the Electoral Commission to access the tally centers either at district level or national level. The Commission has provided all those accredited with written clearance, relevant information, and identification for purposes of observing the elections. The other day at Hotel Mistil, we had a debriefing session with all the observers, and we took them through what is expected of them or required of them as observers, and I think they are well equipped with the do's and don'ts of observation in our country. In conclusion, the Commission urges all stakeholders conduct themselves in a tolerant and peaceful manner and participate in the final activities of this election in accordance with the guidelines and the law, to ensure that we achieve a free and fair exercise. Apart from the guidelines and the law, I think as citizens, we should all be driven by the desire that at the end of it all, we must all have a peaceful, stable country for the good of ourselves, for the benefit of all of us. Because whatever we do, whatever we undertake, whether it is educating our children, taking them to school every day, or putting them in boarding school, whether it is going to our businesses or in the markets or the offices, all that can only happen in an environment, in an atmosphere of peace and stability, not chaos, not mayhem or destruction of our lives and properties. We further appeal for calm and tolerance before, during, and after counting and announcing of results at all levels. I understand some stakeholders have been urging their supporters that once the results have been announced at polling station A, polling station B, start the march over to where. Now, we are taking all these measures. We are going to take these measures and to require and emphasize part of the reason we are urging people to go away from polling stations because of the rhetoric some of the stakeholders have been using in the way they have been urging people to remain. The tone is not that what promotes good conduct, peace, and respect for others. So that's why we are saying, to avoid all this, to have a country that is peaceful during and after polling, let us all observe the guidelines that have been issued by the Electoral Commission and the law in general. Once again, on behalf of the Electoral Commission and on my own behalf, I wish to thank all the people of Uganda for having gone through all the various electoral activities that we highlighted in the roadmap that was launched in August 2023, which we have been undertaking and executing together with you one by one. Yesterday marked one of those key milestones, campaigns. Now we are aiming or going for the apex of it all, and that is polling. And I believe working together, united, and having one desired goal of a continuous, progressive, peaceful country, we shall pull off this process tomorrow. I thank you and wish the people of Uganda a peaceful election day today and the outcomes thereafter. I say all this for God and my country. Thank you so much.